A foreign doctor who had just opened his own practice came up with an interesting deal. He placed a sign outside his clinic that read, "If I can't cure your ailment, I'll give you $100. If I can, you owe me $20." A young affluent man spotted the sign and saw an easy way to pocket $100. He walked into the clinic and the doctor asked him about his symptoms. "I've lost my sense of taste," the wealthy man complained. The doctor signaled a nurse to fetch medicine from box 25 and administer 3 drops into the man's mouth. The man recoiled, exclaiming, "Is that urine? Congratulations, you're cured. Now please hand over the $20. The doctor said. Grudgingly, the rich man handed over the money. A few days later, still irritated, the man returned to the clinic seeking a refund. "I've lost my memory. I can't remember a thing," he declared. The doctor repeated the same routine, and once again, the man was confronted with a bitter taste. "Again? Is this urine?" he protested. "Congratulations, you've been cured of amnesia. Now please, my $20, the doctor responded. The man left the clinic, fuming. Determined to get that $100, he returned a week later. "My vision is extremely poor. I can't see a thing," he claimed. The doctor chuckled. "I don't have a remedy for that, so here's $100. The man looked at the money and exclaimed, "But this is a $20 bill! Congratulations! Your vision is restored. Now please, my $20, the doctor said with a grin. The man had been suffering from a constant, severe cough for several weeks, so in the end he decided to seek medical help. He made an appointment and sat nervously in the doctor's office, fidgeting with anxiety. The doctor carefully examined him, performed several tests, and then left the ward. A few minutes later, the doctor returned with a serious expression on his face. He sighed and said, "I have bad news for you." The man's eyes widened with fear, and he asked, "What's the matter, Doc? What's wrong with me?" The doctor replied, "I'm sorry to say this, but you don't have long to live." The man was stunned. His heart was pounding wildly, and he exhaled, "Oh my God, how much time do I have left, doctor?" The doctor was silent for a moment, as if thinking, and then finally said, 10. The man's thoughts were racing, and he asked in despair, 10 what? 10 months, 10 weeks, 10 days. The doctor looked at his wristwatch. The seconds were ticking, and calmly replied, 9. The man's panic reached a whole new level when he stammered, 9, what, 9 o'clock, 9 minutes? The doctor, now clearly enjoying the dramatic tension he had created, looked at his watch again and casually said, 8. The man's face turned pale, and he pleaded, "Please, Doc, you have to tell me. 8 what? 8 seconds?" The doctor leaned over and whispered, 7. Every moment the man's anxiety grew, and he begged, "Please, doctor, don't do this to me. 7 what? 7 what, doctor?" The doctor leaned even closer, lowered his voice almost to a whisper, and with a mischievous grin said, 6, 5, 4. When the man's panic reached its peak, the doctor continued the countdown, 3, 2, 1. The man, unable to bear it any longer, shouted, "1 what? 1 of what, doctor?" "That's $1 for you," the doctor replies. Once upon a time in a home filled with laughter, there lived a rather unremarkable yet cheerful cat. This cat was known for its wit, but one day it decided to showcase an intelligence far beyond what anyone expected. You see, the story unfolds in the second year of the cat's life when, for reasons beyond feline comprehension, it had learned to manage its natural bathroom needs. There were no training sessions, no formal lessons, and yet there the cat was, an exemplar of toiletry self-sufficiency. Now, fast forward to the day in question. The husband of the house returned from work with a singular, urgent mission: to relieve himself on the porcelain throne. In his haste, he barely closed the apartment door behind him before bolting to the bathroom, switching on the light, and, well, sitting down. He let out a robust fart with a sense of accomplishment that only those who've been holding it in all day can truly appreciate. But what unfolded next was a comedy goldmine. It was a scene that should have been captured on camera for future generations to enjoy. Picture this. The cat was serenely attending to its own bathroom needs when suddenly, out of nowhere, a large, furry rear end descended upon it. The cat was treated to an unexpected high-speed rendezvous with an unfamiliar derriere, and its world turned upside down. The cat responded in a most dramatic fashion. It let out heart-rending screams and, in a fit of bestial fury, clamped down on the unfortunate husband's exposed behind. The husband, having been on a peaceful mission to use the restroom, was now caught in an unexpected struggle with something emerging from the depths of the toilet. His eyes widened in sheer terror, and he emitted a sound that lay somewhere between a groan and a yelp. The white cat, its fur soiled in an unfortunate turn of events, also decided to evacuate the scene, albeit in the opposite direction. It sprinted out of the bathroom, leaving behind a chaotic scene. Needless to say, it took the husband a good hour to regain his composure, and his wife, while still choking with laughter, had to give the feline participant a thorough, albeit comically reluctant, wash. As for the cat's newfound toilet prowess, well, it seemed that one unexpected encounter with a descending butt had thoroughly discouraged any further toilet visits, leaving the cat's potty training days behind for good. One sunny morning, I spotted my dwarf neighbor waiting at the bus stop, so I thought, why not be a good neighbor and offer him a lift? I pulled over and rolled down my car window, calling out, "Hey there, need a ride?" Well, he didn't exactly respond with gratitude. In fact, he retorted, "F asterisk 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 off!" My jaw nearly hit the floor as I watched him huff and puff. I couldn't believe how ungrateful he was being, but I decided to take the high road. I shrugged off the insult, rolled up my window, and went on my way, but that's when a mischievous idea popped into my head. I zipped up my backpack, which just so happened to contain a magical shrink ray I'd borrowed from a friend who dabbled in quirky inventions. I figured, why not have a little fun with my grumpy neighbor? So I discreetly activated the shrink ray and aimed it at him, watching as he started to shrink down, until he was just a tiny, pint-sized version of his already diminutive self. Now that he was the size of a garden gnome, I zipped back to the bus stop, and with a sly grin, I picked him up and popped him into my backpack. He looked around in disbelief, his tiny voice squeaking out, "What the heck just happened?" I couldn't help but chuckle. "Don't worry, buddy. I'm giving you a lift, just like you asked." I carefully carried my miniaturized neighbor home, making sure he had a cozy spot with some snacks and a small TV. We even had a little chat about how he should be careful what he wished for. Tim and Steve, both alumni of a prestigious college, found themselves at their 30th reunion. Amid the joyful reunions and exuberant chatter, Tim noticed that Steve was not his usual vibrant self. Concerned, he decided to delve deeper into his friend's apparent melancholy. After a few more minutes of small talk, Steve confided in Tim, admitting that things weren't as rosy as they might seem on the surface. Tim leaned in, curious to know what was bothering his immensely successful friend. Steve, with a hint of sadness in his eyes, began to explain. "You know, Tim, while I might appear to be the epitome of success, the truth is that I'm facing a dilemma that no amount of money can solve." Tim raised an eyebrow, genuinely surprised. "Come on, Steve," he said. "You've taken not one but two companies public, and you're sitting on a pile of wealth so enormous that there's almost nothing you can't buy. Your children are thriving. You're an industry icon. You have power, prestige, and, well, it seems like you're aging backward. What in the world could possibly be causing you such distress?" Steve sighed and took a sip of his drink, collecting his thoughts. "Actually, Tim, it's precisely that wealth that's the root of my problem. The one thing I desire more than anything else, the one thing that would bring me genuine happiness, is the one thing I cannot afford." Now Tim was thoroughly perplexed. You're one of the wealthiest people on the planet, he said. What could possibly be so valuable that even you, with all your riches, can't obtain it? Steve looked down at his glass, his voice tinged with regret, and said, "A divorce." The silence that followed was deafening, but it didn't take long for Tim to grasp the irony of the situation. They both burst into laughter, the weight of Steve's confession dissipating in the laughter that filled the room. It was a humorous reminder that sometimes the cost of happiness lies not in what you have, but in what you can't let go of. Steve's confession sparked a conversation that meandered into their shared experiences over the years. They talked about their respective marriages, the ups and the downs, and the way life had unfolded for them. Tim, after a hearty chuckle, said, "You know, Steve, life sure has a way of surprising us. It's a peculiar conundrum. When we're young and in love, we dream of the wealth and success you've achieved. And yet, as we grow older, we realize that sometimes the things we value most are those we might have taken for granted along the way." Steve nodded in agreement, his laughter transforming into a thoughtful smile. "You're absolutely right, Tim. It's funny how life can twist our priorities. But hey, let's not forget to appreciate the moments we've shared, the laughter we've had, and the lessons we've learned, both the easy way and the hard way." The two friends raised their glasses and made a toast to the twists and turns of life, to unexpected riches and unaffordable happiness, and to the enduring bonds of friendship that had seen them through it all. As the reunion continued, the friends reminisced about the good old days and relished the present. They were living proof that life's greatest treasures often reveal themselves not in the number of zeros in a bank account, but in the heartfelt laughter shared among friends who had seen each other through the highs and lows of the journey. Are those we might have taken for granted along the way. Steve nodded in agreement, his laughter transforming into a thoughtful smile. "You're absolutely right, Tim. It's funny how life can twist our priorities. But hey, let's not forget to appreciate the moments we've shared, the laughter we've had, and the lessons we've learned, both the easy way and the hard way." The two friends raised their glasses and made a toast to the twists and turns of life, to unexpected riches and unaffordable happiness, and to the enduring bonds of friendship that had seen them through it all. As the reunion continued, the friends reminisced about the good old days and relished the present. They were living proof that life's greatest treasures often reveal themselves not in the number of zeros in a bank account, but in the heartfelt laughter shared among friends who had seen each other through the highs and lows of the journey.